Hey, I'm Joe Sims. I play lead guitar with the band AXEMASTER. We're currently signed with Pure Steel Records, and our new album, Crawling Chaos, just came out on that label last month. It's our second album on Pure Steel Records since we reformed back in 2010. I actually started the band in like 1985 trying to make a working band to play my original material. We did a demo, got signed to Azra International Records. Was a cool label, had some cool bands on it like Liege Lord and Jag Panzer, Death. A lot of good bands were on that label. And but unfortunately, after a couple releases with Azra and a couple more releases, one independent, one through a managerial place in France, we ended up we ended up changing the band name, and then the band became inactive until 2010 when I brought it back, just basically because I was really shocked to know how many people really dug the old stuff and really remembered what we did. So, the material that we had, I always loved more than any material I'd ever played with any other band or project. So it was a no-brainer just to start this band up again, get going. And our first album on there came out in 2015 on Pure Steel, called Overture to Madness. And actually, one last thing, I'm the only original band member left. Um, the original drummer Brian Henderson did play on Overture to Madness, but right now we've got a whole new band together, and this band kicks some ass. These guys are great musicians I'm playing with. I have to work my ass off just to keep up. Like I mentioned before, we got a new album that came out last month called Crawling Chaos, and we are really seriously power psyched about this album. It's my personal favorite AXEMASTER album out there, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One big reason is the material is a little bit more diverse than what AXEMASTER has been in the past on different releases, just basically because we wrote this album really as a band, and it wasn't 90 or 100% me writing all the music. I would come up with some riffs that I wanted to put together into a song. If everybody thought they were cool, we'd all work on them together with arrangement, bridges, different ways to play different riffs, things like that. Everybody took a really active role in the songwriting process, and I think it really shows because it really came out as more of a diverse album, but also with cohesion, which is an odd combination. But if you listen to Crawling Chaos, you'll know what I'm talking about. And now on the album before Crawling Chaos, Overture to Madness, I did like 100% of the writing of the music. I didn't, and then our singer Jeff McGraw wrote the vocals. But and I was more leaning toward the thrash feel on that album. But on this album, we still got some thrash feel in it, but we also really went back to everybody's roots. It sounds a lot more like what AXEMASTER did back in the 80s and early 90s than what Overture to Madness sounded like. And the other thing about this album that really to me takes it over the top is that for the first time in this band's history, we have an album that actually has major label recording quality. Sound quality of this album is just off the charts. I just love it. Very, very fucking crankable. So I hope everybody out there, maybe you'll check it out and must be cranked. As far as the lyrics go, I used to write probably 75% of the lyrics back in the day. I wrote all the lyrics for the Five Demons album, but I really prefer to write music over writing lyrics. And when Jeff joined the band and did some work, it was obvious he was a great lyricist. We found out he is outstanding at coming up with phrasing and hooks and stuff like that. A lot better at it than I am. So I didn't want to do the lyrics anymore. I told him, he's got free reign on all the vocals, and we totally trust him because everything he's come up with has been totally kick ass. So I'm just happy writing the music, let him, well, write the riffs, and let him just totally go to town on the vocals on his own. Lyrics, phrasing, everything. As far as the lyric content goes, I know Overture to Madness is mostly about a really difficult time in Jeff's life that he was just at the end of going through. Not obviously not at liberty to say what that was, but I can tell you it was total bullshit, and I felt really bad for him. But I think it was therapy that to write the lyrics for that album. There's a lot of venom in that album, not the band, actual venom. I mean, yeah, there's some hate in the lyrics of that album, believe me, and I totally get it. It's he needed to release that, and I'm glad that the band gave him an outlet to do that. But as far as Crawling Chaos goes, there's a lot of different lyrical things going on. Like the title track, Crawling Chaos, is a directly from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu character and the novels with him with that entity in it, if you want to call him that. Now, actually, a couple of the songs on here, I had written lyrics for a long time ago. "Flowers for the Dead" and "Death Before Dishonor." I wrote the lyrics for those back in either the 80s or the 90s, and we used them. Um, Really, I mean, another personal thing was "Flowers for the Dead" for me. It had to do with my mom and my grandma. You can draw your own conclusions. And "Death Before Dishonor" is just kind of like self-explanatory. It's like, don't let anybody make you be dishonorable. You know, some of the other topics like bravado, Jeff wrote us. That's really a metal anthem, going back to like Judas Priest, British Steel, and it's more of a straightforward rocking song that isn't really what we normally do, but we thought this was cool and wanted to put kind of an ode to the old metal, Saxon, AC/DC, Van Halen, Judas Priest, all that stuff. It's a little outside of our wheelhouse, but I think it's pretty cool. And the rest of the album, buy the CD. There are lyrics inside the album. You can try and decide what they mean. As far as the cover artwork for Crawling Chaos goes, Jeff contacted this artist that he had seen some work from, and I believe True Metal Lives. Noel Puente. He's from Spain, and man, did he do a kick-ass job. We've been getting comment after comment after comment about how killer that cover is. It may not be like back in the day where there were vinyl albums and 8-track tapes where you would leaf through the albums, and when you're in high school, maybe find a kick-ass cover and buy the album because of the cover. But it's a selling point that the cover is just beyond kick-ass. Noel did just an amazing job. It's really, the title track, Crawling Chaos. It's Noel's interpretation of Cthulhu. And, and then Pure Steel did the graphics around it, the title of the album, which I thought it was cool the way they laid it out. So it just goes with the whole entire album. I mean, to me, it's the best album cover, best material, and best recording. That's just my personal opinion, but I just love the album, and I'm really, really proud of it. So working our ass off to get it around. We've been with Pure Steel Records since 2014, And it's been really cool working with them. And that's the key word, working with them. Because the labels I've been with, and basically any of the labels that I've talked to people about, the indie labels, you record your album, you send them the master, and then everything else is basically what they want to do, they do. And Pure Steel gave me the opportunity to make suggestions, comments, and they used probably 90% of my suggestions, and which is really rare in the music business. Record labels usually don't do that. Like one of the new things that Pure Steel put out of ours was actually a double record, vinyl record re-release of material we did in the late 80s, early 90s. It's been remastered. It sounds great. Sounds 100 times better than it did back in the day. But at first it was supposed to be a single album. And I really told him I told him I really wanted the Five Demons material on this album. I really, really appreciate it. And a double album would be great. And they went ahead and did double album. A lot of the graphics guy, Marcus, who he's done a great job for all the graphics for all our releases. He takes my suggestions. They take my suggestions as far as promo goes and different things like that. They treat me like a friend that you're working with. Not just another band out there that is kind of, to them is kind of nameless and faceless. They've been really cool. And I can't see an indie label being better to work with than Pure Steel Records has been. We don't really have any tours set up right now. I'm actually working on one. Hopefully it'll come through. I'm working with a promoter and booking agent who's also working with a band from Europe that has been around a long time and is pretty legendary in the underground scene, for us and them and one other band to hook up to do a bunch of dates in the U.S. It's not close enough to being a sure thing to really go into any details, who the other bands are, anything like that. But really hoping it comes through, because that's exactly the kind of thing we need to do. The other thing we need to do is play in Europe, and that's something I want to do about more than anything else. It's just a matter of finances. We've had offers to play in Europe and different small tours and things like that, but the financial end just didn't make business sense. So, it was something that we really couldn't do at the time. And, hopefully that'll change and we'll be able to get over there and kick some ass in Europe. Definitely want to play some of the kick-ass festivals over there. That would be nice. So hopefully you'll see AXEMASTER over there at some point. Hopefully the Crawling Chaos will help us get over that hump to where we're able to do some things that maybe we weren't able to before. Really hoping that comes through. As far as what the band's going to be doing in the near future, everything's about the Crawling Chaos album. We have been and will keep pushing it, promoting it, supporting it every way we possibly can, because we really think that this album's good enough to help us get to the next level of success, but it ain't going to do anything if nobody heard it, nobody knows about it. So whether it be for us to get as many cool shows as we can to support it, working our asses off and late hours on the internet trying to get it around every source we can possibly think of, it's just balls to the wall getting out there and trying to get this album around. And one of the main things we're going to be promoting, and probably by the time this would be up on the site, will be out for a little while, is we recently shot a video for the first single from the album called 10,000 Pound Hammer. And we had a film company called Creative Masters Unlimited do all the production, and they just did a fucking awesome job. It is This video is something else. I mean, everybody loves it. I'm really, really happy. They really went above and beyond what you would think a local film company would do. Great job. Very seldom do an indie band end up with a video that's good enough to be on VH1, but yeah, the job they did and the way the audio is, that video is, it kicks some serious ass. So we're going to be using that, and if you see us online, you have any questions, feel free to stop by our website at www.axemasterofficial.com. Drop us a line there on facebook.com/axemasterofficial. We always return mail. Might take us a little while depending on how much we got going on, which lately has been a hell of a lot. But now I pride myself, and always have, on making sure that I return all mail from fans, because the fans are the reason why we're here. This is our dream, and we're living this dream because the fans have always supported Axemaster, me, everything that I've ever done, and a sincere shout out to them. You guys kick some ass. We wouldn't be able to be living a dream without you. So here's to you. Cheers.